Today on Locked On Red Wings, 10 games into the season, which Red Wings are hot and which are not.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And you can find us wherever you download your podcasts. Today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about which players on the Red Wings are just firing off on all cylinders to start the season, starting off hot, our confidence level that they'll remain hot, as well as the inverse in segment 2, who is not hot, and our concern level with their lack of production thus far. Then in segment 3, we'll do an LA Kings preview. We know who the starter is, and we have an update on Patrick Kane as well. Scotty, before we get to that, I got to let the people know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Scotty, let's get this one out of the way. When talking about who's hot, I think you have to start the conversation with Captain Dylan Larkin. He is somebody who in each episode this year we have mentioned because in every single game he has produced a point with the exception of the first game against St. Louis where they took an assist away from him, snapping his point streak. But he's got 16 points in 10 games. He ranks second in the NHL in points as of the end of the second St. Louis game on Wednesday. There's only one game tonight, so probably will stay intact as well. Scotty, Dylan Larkin is the hottest of the hot, red, flaming hot. I think my question here is, what's your confidence level that he can remain hot? How consistent do you think he can stay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to hit 100 points, which I think is what he's like near on pace for.
He is on pace for 132 points right
All
now.
right, well,
66 goals and 66 assists.
So yeah, I don't think he's gonna bag 130 necessarily, but yeah, I mean, I think that it is imperative that he continues to be a point a game or better player for the success of the Wings, and I think that is something that they will continue to rely on him for, and I expect him to do that. If assuming he stays on the ice, I expect him to be around, if not better than a point a game. And so he's, as you mentioned, on fire, and not only one of the hottest players on the Wings, but he's one of the hottest players in the entire NHL at the present moment. He's like second or third in the league in points. Like he's on an absolute tear. So yeah, I don't expect him to, again, like finish that. I don't think he's going to have more points than Connor McDavid this year, but like I do think that it is very important for him to be the most productive player on this team in terms of the Wings' success and what they'll need out of him if they want to be that playoff team. And I also think that he is capable of doing so.
Yeah, my confidence level that he's going to have 132 points is 0. But my confidence level that he can hater, dude. I know, right? That he can maintain a high level of play throughout the season is very high. When he is healthy, he plays like this. You know, it's when he gets banged up that he gets knocked off these hot streaks and struggles a little bit. And he's actually arguably been banged up to start the season. There have been whispers that he's already a little bit banged up because he's had a few maintenance days here and there already. Yet he still has 16 points in 10 games. So I think his ceiling has been and always will be, for as long as he's in his prime, 95 points. But it's just, can he stay healthy long enough to do that? And, future will tell, but my confidence level that he can stay consistently a top-line center is, 100% throughout the year. Scotty, another line mate of his that's hot, Emmett Finney. Another guy, it's just obvious, right? Sure. Rookie, 7th-round pick. No one expected him to make the team coming into camp. Just burst onto the scene. He's got 8 points in 10 games. He's second on the team in goals with 4, behind only Dylan Larkin, and he's got 4 assists to go with it as well. What's your confidence level Emmett Finney can maintain this kind of pace?
Yeah, I mean, this pace is, I guess, somewhat similar to Larkin. I mean, we're pushing a point a game here. I don't think he's necessarily going to do that. That being said, all we asked for going into this season. Like, I remember talking about top line left wing and being like, who is it going to be? Which one of the, suitors is going to like take that job and run with it kind of thing. All we want is just for it to be obvious who should be playing there. And all we want is just consistent, stable production from a spot that was a giant hole a year ago. And I think, well, like, again, I don't think he's going to necessarily have a dang near point a game season. I do think that he can at least be that. He can at least be the guy that you pencil in the lineup in that spot every night, and we don't second guess it or think twice about it. And that's just the top line left wing for the season. And I am pretty confident that he can at least be that.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the year, we were saying, like, it's already a success that he's even made the NHL roster.
Right.
My confidence level, he's going to remain on a 65-point pace, which is, I think, what he's on right now, is pretty low. He's going to struggle at some point. Teams are going to get tape on him. They're going to learn how to deal with him. But through 10 games, he's exceeded every single expectation that we could have possibly had for him. For him to be second on the team in points right now, third on the team in points right now is absurd with where he was taken and what the expectation was coming in. I think he can remain effective, though. I think he can be at least a half point per game if he continues to play his butt off like he is now. But I do think he is going to, have rookie struggles at some point. But right now, he's handling it the best out of any of the three rookies that cracked this lineup to start the season. So my confidence level is like, I still need to see more before I'm willing to commit. Like, oh yeah, like this is actually a true Calder favorite. But I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts because he's doing everything right. And maybe he's one of those guys where he just comes on and bursts onto the scene and he stays hot for the entire season. God, we would love that if that were the case. Scotty, who else is hot to start the year?
Yeah, I mean, I want to give flowers to Jonathan Berggren. This is a guy that we were very critical of and have kind of had under a microscope for the last couple of years. And I think that when it comes to depth scoring, we've addressed that a bunch over the summer and throughout the start of the year, how important that's going to be. And he's been, I think, a pretty decent part of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot left to be desired defensively from him, but it's very clear he's made an effort to address that, and I think he knew that he had to if he wanted to be in this lineup. He has played so far in just 6 of the 10 games, but he has 4 points in those 6 games, and he is one of those guys who's didn't necessarily start hot, but has gotten hot in the last few games. Obviously, he had 3 goals. He scored in back-to-back games. Right, there was the Islanders in the first Blues game. It was part of that depth scoring that the Red Wings desperately needed. He's kept the power play afloat when it was kind of struggling, that power play unit too. So he's definitely one of those guys who I wouldn't necessarily, he's in the hot category because he's gotten hot and he's playing his butt off in the last few games, but isn't the same kind of hot as Emmett Finney and Dylan Larkin, where it's been like this whole season.
Of hotness.
Right, tiers of heat tier.
Right, there's Brian, flaming hot, obviously, and then me, lukewarm type of situation.
That's generous, but yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Wait, which one is generous?
We'll leave that to the listeners.
Okay. I was gonna say, I feel like that was open ended,
Yeah, so it's like if you were, you go to a Buffalo Wild Wings and you're ordering your heat sauce,
the heat meter.
Yeah. The heat meter. Jonathan Berggren's like medium right now.
Right.
And Dylan Larkin is like
he's a nice
Reaper pepper.
Like Chipotle mayo situation.
Right. A little bit of hot, a little bit of heat. Alex DeBrincat, though, I want to give flowers too, right? Like, and it's a little easier to make this argument because he has now scored in back-to-back games. He has 2 goals, but he's got 10 points on the season. He's got 2 goals and 8 assists. And he's been playing, at least, again, we always say this to DeBrincat, he always tries defensively, even if the results aren't there for him.
Against St. Louis.
Right. He's had a couple nice back checks as well. So I have him in the hot category despite the struggles he's had defensively. He's had, like, I believe 50 plus shot attempts to start the season, and his shooting percentage is 5% right now.
Right.
Like, he's one of those guys who should have like 4 or 5 goals right now at minimum. but has been kind of snake bitten. But even though he's not providing goals himself, he is contributing with assists. So for me, he is in the hot category, as is Lucas Raymond. If you want to bundle another guy who got hurt, missed a couple games, but he's 8 points in 8 games. Well, only 2 of those are goals. He's providing assists. He's been very engaged on a lot of Dylan Larkin's goals. He's been the secondary or the primary setup guy on a lot of Dylan Larkin's goals. So I don't know if you want to just quickly address those 2 guys, but I have those in my hot category too.
No, I don't have too much to add on Raymond. I mean, anytime you're around a point a game since the return of the injury is obviously a good thing. Cat, I would legitimately argue, has been one of the better players on the entire team this year, despite being snake bitten and the goals not coming at as high of a percentage as I'm sure he would like, but as the organization and fans and such would like too. He's everywhere right now, man. He is all over the place. As you mentioned, he's been improved defensively and certainly puts in effort on that side of the ice. I've been really impressed with Cat, and I think, like, based on what we've seen so far, I really think that that's a scenario where if the puck does start finding the back of the net a little bit more consistently, like, he could really explode for a kind of astronomical type season.
Yeah, and then, like, finally, in terms of who's hot, I don't think relative to what their expectations were, I think Ben Sherratt's probably the second hottest player on this team, right? Emmett Finney's probably the hottest relative to expectations, but Ben Sherratt's playing the best hockey we've seen out of him this year, right? Like, our best hockey we've seen out of him in his Red Wings tenure. He is 5th on the team in hits right now. He blocks a ton of shots. He's 2nd on the team in block shots with 17. He's playing big minutes, and he's having positive impacts with and without the puck, which is something we haven't seen out of Ben Sherratt much. He's currently 9th on the team in Corsi for percentage with 54%. Like, he is playing really good hockey right now. So I want to give Ben Sherratt his flowers because he has been a target of criticism throughout his entire Red Wings tenure and from us as well. So when these guys step up to the plate, I want to make it known, like, I see you, and I think you're playing great hockey.
You are seen.
You're seen. Anything to add on that?
No, I don't think so, man. But yeah, like the only thing, I guess I just said no, and then I'm going to add something. But it was just a big question mark about what level of production we were going to get from him, and if the Sherratt and Sider pair was going to work. And now, I mean, heck, he's even playing with a rookie. Like, it's been very, very helpful and improves the blue line depth pretty significantly.
Right. I mean, he's sitting there at a 50% like actual shot share. When he's out there, the team has a 50% shot share. And that's, remember, Sherratt and Sider, even though I know the last game and a half they've been separated, when they're together, they play the bulk majority defensive zone starts against the toughest competition. So to get that kind of deployment and then still have a 50% shot share, he is doing something right. So I just wanted to make sure he got shouted out for that as well. Scotty, we're going to move on to segment 2. We're going to talk about who's not hot. So stay tuned to segment 2 of Locked On Red Wings. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making the late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. All right, Scotty. Who is not hot for the Detroit Red Wings?
Well, I also want to preface this segment with, like, they're 7-3, and it's important to remember, there is a lot more going right for the Wings so far this year than things going wrong, right? That list is much longer on the positive side of things which is, again, kind of important to keep in mind. But there's certainly some players that we hope we can get some more out of over the course of the season. I want to start with Michael Rasmussen just because I feel like it's a quick-ish conversation because we've already talked about it a handful of times. It would improve the center depth so much if he worked out as the 4C of this team. And I think, as you mentioned yesterday, the fourth line had a really solid performance in that second game against St. Louis. But there's still a lot more that needs to be proven until we're, like uber confident in him up the middle going forward. So that's a guy who, literally has already been healthy scratched this season. And you're hoping can turn it around because the 2023 Rasmussen, I still believe is in there somewhere.
Yeah, my hope on that is kind of dwindling, but I do think there's still an effective fourth line winger in there. I would like if Danielson could get called up through just shuffling the lineup around, have Rasmussen moved off of center because I just don't think at this point he's an NHL center. But I do think there's an effective fourth line winger in there. And while he's definitely had a pretty poor start to the year, he did have his best game of the season against St. Louis in St. Louis, where that fourth line dominated the Blues and was creating all kinds of offensive scoring chances. He had a primary assist on a nice puck battle he won behind the net to find Soderblom out front. So there is a good fourth liner in there, a good maybe third line winger in there. But it's just all about, can he find that consistency? Because he does go through these stretches where he's just not really engaged physically, just has no touch at all with the puck on his stick. And when that happens, you have 6'3", somewhere between 6'3", 6'6", I don't know off the top of my head, of just kind of
6'3",
a dude, a guy out there doing cardio. So you need Michael Rasmussen to be his best start, and it's been lackluster, to say the least, to start the year. Definitely one of the knots in this category. Concern level, I have some concern. I'm a little bit concerned.
I have concern about the player. I don't have too much concern on its, I don't know how to say this, like its impact on the team. Like, I don't think we're going to be at game 82 and we're going to be like, man, like if Michael Rasmussen was good, we make the playoffs. Like, they'll just shuffle the lineup and he just won't play like he did a couple of nights ago. Danielson will probably get that opportunity if that trend continues. So we'll see. But yeah, I would say I'm not very optimistic about him turning it around at this point.
Right. And it's not about the 10 games. It's about the 10 games plus last season where he would do this as well.
100%.
Like we're not making this judgment based on a 10 game sample size. We're also taking into the 2025 season, 24-25 season as well when we're making this decision. But at the same time, this last game was encouraging because you know how good he can be in a bottom six role when he's on. It's just getting him to do it every single night. Scotty, Marco Kasper has definitely been very quiet offensively for the Detroit Red Wings. He's got 1 goal and 0 assists for 1 point in 10 games played. He's one of those guys where there's going to be a lot of guys we mentioned here in this segment who maybe are on the not hot list, but there are things you can say they are doing well. And Marco Kasper is a perfect example of that. While his offense has just dried up and it's not been there to start the season, defensively, Marco Kasper has been phenomenal.
For sure.
He leads the team in hits right now, having passed NBN with the 10th game. He is out of the Red Wings who have played 10 games, so in all games, he has the fewest shot attempts against when he is on the ice. The Red Wings have the fewest shot attempts against when he is on the ice at 5-on-5. So we know this already. He's a great two-way center who plays a great defensive game, and he's not afraid to throw the body. So his defensive impacts are there. He's playing good. He's getting the puck up ice. He's winning lots of puck battles, but he's just not finding the back of the net. So for that reason, the lack of production, because you need that out of the second line and from your second line center, he is on the not hot list.
Yeah. I don't even have too much to add there. I think he has been great defensively. You want more offensively. But we also saw this a little bit last year, right? He started off slower in point production and then found his stride. And he's also played with a bunch of different people because of the injuries. Like, I think once there's a little bit more of a stable that second line is a little bit more solidified, that his production will tick up. He just hasn't played with the same people 2 nights in a row yet this season.
Nah, you're not since Game 5 when Patrick Kane went down.
Right.
So it's been... But as far as concern level, I'm not all that concerned. This might end up being a down year for him offensively and ends up being a sophomore slump, but I still have full faith that he'll be okay in the long run.
For sure.
Axel Sandin Pellikka, definitely on the not hot list. He has, I think, the worst goals above replacement out of any qualified defenseman on Money Puck. And his impacts both offensively and defensively almost every night are amongst the worst for the team on Hockey Stat Card. But with that being said, I know that all I just said should sound like a red flag. It's almost surprising every time a game ends and you see those analytics look so bad. Because when you're watching the game, I don't think he looks that out of place. And it's one of those things where I don't know if the eye test matches the advanced analytics, where he's off to a quiet start. He's got the 1 goal. I think that might be a goal and an assist should be the only points he has this season. Let me double check. A goal and an assist for 2 points in 10 games. But I think he's holding his own fine. I think why we don't notice these mistakes is because they're not huge, impactful, glaring mistakes. He had the one against Toronto that ended up in a goal against. But outside of that, it's probably just little things, like along the boards, not winning the puck battles that aren't as noticeable to the naked eye because they don't pop off the page. But I don't think he's also not looking like an NHL caliber player at the same time. So maybe at some point, the team decides he needs to, grow his game in Grand Rapids, but I don't think he looks as behind the play or anything as NBN did. So I was a little surprised to see those numbers look like that, but he's certainly on the not hot list.
Yeah. And he has the, I don't know, the whatever word I'm trying to think of. His style is also one where the expectation is for him to be a defenseman that records points and produces points. And so
right.
I don't think he looks completely out of place out there, certainly. But just because of the style of game that he plays, you are hoping and expecting and wanting more offensive production because that's what he's going to provide, and that's going to be his role long-term in the NHL. So I think just for that reason, he has to be on here. But yeah, I don't think – I'm not concerned about him being terrible or anything. I don't think he looks out of place. It's just a matter of finding out how he can still be that productive point producer at the NHL level.
Yeah, he is according to Evolving Hockey, he is the worst qualified defenseman at goals above replacement and wins above replacement. So it's just kind of shocking to see he is dead last amongst the league, amongst qualified defensemen.
Qualified, I mean,
right.
10 games, there's a bunch of shuffling with lineups and whatever. But yeah, certainly not Scott? Great. I'm not trying to say that.
But also concern level, he's a rookie.
0.
He's going to go through these. So it's not like it's a 5-year veteran who you've seen these warning signs for a while and haven't seen consistency. So who else, Scotty? Who we got?
The only other person I think that we wanted to talk about was Andrew Kopp. That's kind of a similar conversation as Kasper, just without the expectations. He's not producing offensively. I think the ship has kind of sailed on anybody really banking on him to produce offensively or expecting him to produce offensively, but he's not. There's been some nights where that third line has looked really good. There's been some nights where they're, as you said earlier, kind of just doing cardio. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Concern level is probably pretty higher than most of the other people we've talked about, just because his Red Wings tenure has been kind of disappointing. But we know what he is. Put him out there, you'll still get some decent defense. But I think the ship is sailing further and further away on any chance of him getting the half point a game offensive touchback.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it, right? If you're banking on a lot of offense at Andrew Kopp, you're going to be disappointed. Because, again, the way he's being used is in a hardcore matchup line. And I talked about, of the players on the Red Wings who have played 10 games, Marco Kasper is the fewest shot attempts. The Red Wings have the fewest shot attempts against when Marco Kasper's on the ice. Andrew Copp's third on that list. And Andrew Copp plays much harder defensive zone deployments and against tougher competition than DeBrincat and Kasper do, because they're generally a more sheltered line. They're used to playing with Patrick Kane, and so Patrick Kane and DeBrincat, you put them in more offensive zone deployments and sheltered minutes. Not sheltered minutes, but, offensive zone deployments and sheltered opponents. Andrew Copp doesn't get that. You're basically asking them to be number 2 to the first line in terms of difficulty of minutes, and yet defensively, they do a really good job. Andrew Copp is a superb PKer. He's a superb faceoff guy, and he's superb defensively. He just has no offensive touch. He cannot finish for the life of him. So while it's just like he is cold because you still want more offense out of him, because I would expect him to have more points than he currently does, I'm also not like, man, this guy stinks, because I think he's doing well in the role that he's been given overall. He still has 4 points in 10 games, which you're probably hoping like 5 in 10. He hasn't been a train wreck, but you're hoping probably for, with the chances that third line has had in some games, for him to have been a little bit more involved. But he's been so good defensively. So he's cold, but he's not dead in the water by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
a couple
just,
goals
again,
here or there pops it back either way.
Role-based thing. That's all.
Yeah. A couple guys we didn't talk about. Moritz Seider, I wouldn't put in the he's hot category, but I think he is still playing very, very good. All of his analytical data suggests that he has been dominant defensively as well, and just hasn't been able to really accrue too many points. Simon Edvinsson was close to being on the he's not list, but he's had a couple of really good games.
Yeah, nice bounce back couple of games. He even said into a mic, like when asked about his performance, he literally said, "I was awful for 2 games."
Right. So he kind of evened out. So there's a lot of guys who are just kind of in the middle, not hot, not cold. Scotty, let's head to a quick break. We'll do a quick preview of the LA Kings game with a couple updates. Stay tuned for that. Segment 3 of Locked On Red Wings coming up. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. It's going to help you organize your accounts, track your spending, and get a better handle on investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. You're going to love how you can review everything with your partner, see shared goals, and make better financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where the money's going and how to make it work harder for you. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. All right, Scotty, real quick game preview of the LA Kings. We know Talbot's going to be the starter. We've known that for a couple days, but Patrick Kane will not be joining the team against the Kings or the Ducks, who are next up on Friday. And I don't want to get hyperbolic, but let me get hyperbolic. It's kind of feeling like Tyler Bertuzzi.
Stop.
I mean, he's day-to-day. You get no updates. You don't know what's wrong, but we hope to see him soon. And then he's not going to join. Is it actually going to be Tyler Bertuzzi like that one year where he played 9 games and then was day-to-day the whole season?
Probably not. 6 months, man.
Right. Probably not. But it's getting ridiculous, the lack of transparency. And that's not a McClellan thing. It's not a Red Wings thing. That's an NHL thing. But it's just like with Raymond, we knew he was day-to-day with an upper body thing. Like, we don't even get a day-to-day diagnosis with Patrick Kane. It's just we hope to see him. We're going to reevaluate him in a few days. Like, it's just... And I know at that point I'm arguing semantics over the terminology being used, but I'm just like, let's be honest, he's not playing. Like, that's not say we'll see in a couple days. Like, I feel like we all knew in our gut he was probably going to be out in California as well, at least the first 2 games. It felt like that's how it's been because he hasn't been on practice and in line rushes. He stayed home. He didn't join the team in St. Louis. Like, it didn't feel like he was close.
I agree.
So
I'm not mad about it, but I agree.
I'm not mad about it either. I just think it's hilarious where they're like, I'm
You
not
think
mad.
this is you. This is you after
you've
something
seen me
hilarious
mad.
happens. This is Brian when something funny happens.
Well, I just think it's so funny.
I just think it's funny how
I'm animated because I think it's not like haha hilarious, but it's just not surprising.
no, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah, come on now. But I still hope that they are being truthful and that they think he'll be back soon because he's a huge boost to the lineup with his hockey IQ. But regardless, neither here nor there. The LA Kings, Scotty, what do you got about them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a talented team, man, and one that we have. I feel like over the years, it's just been such a team that is waiting to kind of just take a huge leap forward. They're 5-3-3 at the time of this recording. They have won 2 games in a row, the same as the Detroit Red Wings. And yeah, I mean, they've had kind of a similar year in the sense that when they have won, they've looked really good. And when they have lost, they have really lost. It's so interesting to see a team at 5-3-3, but be in the bottom half of the league, even bottom 10 in the league in most team statistics. And that's just a testament to kind of the all or nothing, I guess I'll say, season that they've had up to this point. So it looks like the Wings are going to be dogs. That kind of makes sense. Just West Coast road trip and everything. And the Kings, again, certainly are not a bad team. But yeah, like they won 4-3 against the Sharks. Like, okay, they won 3-1 against the Blackhawks. They lost to the Predators. They've already had 3 overtime, or 4, 5. They already had 5 overtime games. Like they've lost 3 of them, obviously. Like just a team that has played in a lot of close games and a lot of games that have had, 3+ goals in it. So yeah, I mean, that's an opportunity for the Red Wings, albeit again, as the underdog, just because they're going to be on the road.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that is top 10 in shot attempt generation. This is a team that's top 10 in shot generation. They're top 10 in top 15 in scoring, but their expected goals is bottom half of the league, just barely 17th. So more should say in the middle of the pack.
Half, though.
But they have a very potent offense in terms of generating opportunities and finishing on those. So this is obviously they're a playoff team. Like I say all that just to say, yeah, they're a playoff team. You got to go there and you got to do business. Now the Red Wings are in the same territory in a lot of those categories. They're a very heavy forechecking team when they play their game. So if they go to LA and they're able to play their game and they don't have to have a slow start or look terrible, it should be a good hockey game. The Red Wings special teams is great as well. LA Kings penalty kills right now ranked 19th in the league, so your 13th ranked power play can take advantage of that possibly, and their power play is 16th. So you got better special teams. So it's really going to come down to, and any given night special teams could go one way or the other, but if they follow their trends, it's going to come down to a 5-on-5 battle between these two teams because you got the edge in special teams. Can you be better than them at 5-on-5? And that's going to be the question. That's going to be the X factor, shall we say, in this game.
Yeah, that and which Talbot do we get?
Yeah, lights out Talbot or 7 goals against. Although you can't, it's hard to blame him for those. That was a terrible game.
That was a terrible game. Yeah.
Scotty, any final thoughts?
We ball.
We do ball. We'll be back with a new episode tomorrow, recapping this game and previewing the Ducks. Stay tuned for that. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.